Welcome to Cypress, Texas. So in this video, I'm going to cover just about everything you need to know before you buy a home in Cypress, Texas. I have clients moving here all the time, so I wanted to go over the different neighborhoods, some areas, things you need to know before you move here, and pretty much everything in between. And be sure to stay till the end because I'm going to talk about the top 3 reasons why people are choosing Cypress over the other suburbs around the Houston area. So let's get started with talking about some of the important things about Cypress. The first couple things that you need to know, the independent school district for Cypress is Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District. And so it's shortened Cy-Fair. So I'm gonna say Cypress or Cy-Fair or Cypress Fairbanks, just kind of know it's all the same thing. Next thing, it's also an unincorporated area of Harris County, which means it doesn't necessarily always have a local government. So certain things like permits, some permits may not be required for your house if you're in that unincorporated area, such as electrical, plumbing, and so forth. So it's good because you save money, you kind of take care of your own house the way you like to, but when you go to buy a house that the seller's done some remodeling, you just kind of need to do a few more inspections. Now, the most important thing you need to know is that Cypress is delineated between kind of a north-south between 290. On the northern side of 290 is mostly denser pine forest. On the southern side of 290 is mostly kind of a prairie, flat land, not quite as dense trees. Now, a lot of the developers have done a good job of bringing trees and landscaping and making it look beautiful. But if you do like more of that dense forest feel, then I definitely recommend looking further north. So to get an idea of what that looks like, let's take a look at the map. All right, so looking at the map of Houston, this right here is downtown Houston, and Cypress is this northwestern portion right here. So we're kind of zooming in, and I'll pull up here a map of the boundaries in a second, but kind of the main boundaries or main roads to get there is Beltway 8. This is a tollway, and this is the second loop around Houston. This is the third loop around Houston, Grand Parkway or Highway 99. Those are both tollways, but 290 is not a tollway, and it cuts right through Cypress, and 249 is kind of the top barrier there of Cypress, and I'm kind of link some of these different areas just north of 249 with Tomball and Spring, and that'll be a different video, so be sure to subscribe. Now, and then on the southern part is I-10, and Katie's over here, and then Highway 6 kind of goes north here, and actually it's kind of, and there's lots of restaurants and a lot of stoplights, so keep that in mind. But a lot of restaurants here, and it's kind of weird because it goes up 290 and then heads north on the way to the promised land. But anyways, these are the main roads to get there. Okay, so this kind of weird block shape here, this is Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District, or Cy-Fair in ISD. So that kind of gives you a better idea of where Cypress is. All right, now I want to show you the different areas within Cypress. Okay, looking at the map at the different areas within Cypress, you can see they're all kind of broken up now, just to kind of give you a better idea of different areas here, because Cypress is such a big area. Now, this is the Eldridge area, Eldridge North. Eldridge is a road that kind of runs north and south. It actually goes further north of 290, but this is the North Eldridge area. Bear Creek South. Bear Creek's a larger neighborhood in the area, so that's kind of why they refer to it that. Cypress South, this is where all the tons of master plan communities are, and what makes moving to Cypress pretty awesome if that's what you're looking for. So I'll go over in that a little bit more detail. Copperfield, it's an older neighborhood right along Highway 6. I like it a lot. It's got a great charm, decent schools, but this is Copperfield area. Jersey Village is its own municipality. It's its own little city, and I like it a lot. I'll go over some of the pros and cons here. Willowbrook, it's in this portion here. There's Willowbrook Mall, just kind of north of 249. 1960 area. 1960 is Highway 6 turns in 1960, kind of keeps going northeast from here, and this is the Cypress North. And I'm going to talk about that here in one second. But yeah, this is kind of the main areas that I'll be talking about today. Let me dive into some of the major communities and neighborhoods and master plan communities that, again, that make Cypress such a great place to live, and that's why many people are relocating. Let's first start out with Jersey Village. It's one of my favorite little neighborhoods. It's got a cool, close-knit community, and it's an awesome location. It's a 290 Beltway 8. Let me pull up my little pen here. This is kind of a general outline of Jersey Village. And so it's just a wonderful community. It is its own city, so it's got its own fire department, police department. So it's a smaller neighborhood. I mean, it's a decent sized neighborhood, but it's not as big as you would see in like Bridgeland or the Woodlands or whatnot. So it's kind of a cool little neighborhood. The challenge with it is that it did get hit pretty hard during Hurricane Harvey. A good amount of homes are in the 100 and 500 year floodplain, so definitely keep that in mind if you want to stay away from flooded areas or flood prone areas. Be very careful when you're looking in Jersey Village, or you might even want to avoid most of it. Okay, so looking a little further south and west of Beltway, there's two neighborhoods I really like. They're actually just two sections of it. It's Lakes on Eldridge right here. Now it is a gated neighborhood. It's got a guard at the front, so you have a little more safety and security, or at least sense of peace there. But a lot of oil and gas professionals, a lot of expats actually live in the neighborhood because of the safety and the location to the energy corridor. Energy corridor is right over here. Lots of oil and gas companies, and also here in Memorial City and obviously the Galleria. So it's just a shorter commute over there, which is what a lot of people like about it. Otherwise, a lot of the area is just very affordable. So if you're looking to find something that's not too far west, this whole area is very affordable. A lot of great homes to consider. And a lot of this over here is manufacturing, a lot of oil and gas manufacturing plants and whatnot. But as you get over here, there's a lot of great neighborhoods closer to Highway 6. Gonna be a little older for the most part, but some good neighborhoods there. All right, looking further west, just west of Highway 6, this is Bear Creek. Bear Creek is right here by the Addicks Reservoir. Again, it's designed to flood and hold water during heavy rains. And unfortunately, some areas in Bear Creek and a good amount of Bear Creek got flooded from Hurricane Harvey in 2017. So definitely do some due diligence. Right along here, this is kind of the area that it did flood. Otherwise, I mean, there's definitely some throughout here that are closer to the bayous that did flood. Otherwise, that's most of the flooding was right all over here by the reservoir, and then right along the bayous. So that's most of it. And then kind of the northern part of Cypress got hit pretty bad, but I'll show you that on a map later in the video. So one thing I do want to show you is that Cypress has some very affordable areas. So as you're kind of looking right over here, obviously Bear Creek's very affordable, but if you kind of stay south of West Road, a lot of these homes will be, very affordable for most people. Some homes built in the 60s and 70s, but for the most part, you get a lot of 90s and early 2000s houses, especially as you get a little further out west. So this is an area, so if you're looking for, hey, I want something that's affordable, price per square foot's good, it's a decent schools, this would be a place where I would consider looking. Now, some neighborhoods are gonna be really nice, some neighborhoods are gonna be a little more sketch, so we'll have to work together to really find that neighborhood that fits best for you and that you feel comfortable in. And so it's hard to kind of generalize, but that gives you kind of a decent idea of pricing in this area. Now, when you get north of West Road, and it's a general rule, but that's where you get a lot of great master plan communities. So Town Lake is right here. It's a series of interconnected lakes. So if you like to boat or water ski, or stand-up paddleboard or paddle boat, which I don't know why anyone likes to paddle boat. Like, honestly, every time I do, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so fun. And I get out in the middle of the lake and I'm like, exhausted. Like, why did I paddle boat? Like, who thinks this is fun? Anyway, that's just my experience, but it has its own little town center right here. So lots of shops and restaurants and bars. And if you live in the neighborhood, you can just ride your boat up here, dock at the marina, go have a bite to eat, get a couple of drinks, and then boat right on back. And so that's kind of a cool thing. So you'd have to go all the way up north to Lake Conroe, Lake Livingston, if you really like to water ski. And so that's pretty cool. And then they also have their own little, obviously marina, and then there's like a swim up area with sand, a sandy beach access, pool, water slides, lakes, tennis courts, and whatnot. So Town Lake is really cool. It's more expensive, so beautiful luxury homes, and there's some affordable ones, but for the most part, it's going to be on the upper end of most people's budget. But I do love that here. Now, there's some other great neighborhoods, like Realty Ranch, very affordable. Stonegate's affordable. It's a gated neighborhood, but it's right next to Houston National Golf Club. So if you like to golf, you can check that out. You don't have to live in the neighborhood to be a member, but that's pretty neat. Black Horse Ranch has its own golf club, and that's a little bit closer to 290. But the other big one that people love is Bridgeland. Bridgeland is just a massive, massive neighborhood. So it's pretty much like the new Woodlands in northwest Houston. So it's right over here is where Bridgeland is, and then there's just lots of building going on all around it here. But Bridgeland's a beautiful community. People love moving out here to Bridgeland just because of the great amenities, tons of great builders, new houses. And I'm gonna dive into that more detail when I go over my top 10 neighborhoods in Cypress. So be sure to subscribe and definitely stick around for that one. All right, so remember when I was talking about the delineation of a more forested area on the northern side of Cypress? You'll definitely tell a difference as you go north of 290. Now, it's not always the case, but again, north of 290, you're gonna have some more dense forest, more pine trees. On the southern part, you'll find it's more a flat prairie land, which was used for ranching and even rice farming. So keep that in mind. One of my favorites kind of up here in the northern part is Fairfield. Now, Fairfield used to be joked around as Farfield because it was far from everything else. They started building this in the 80s and 90s, and they're like, oh, it's so far out there. Now, the rest of the Cypress and suburbs have caught up with it. It's just regular field now, I guess. It's right in line with all the other suburbs. And again, it has decent access to 290, but it's a really great neighborhood and definitely something to consider. It does have a little bit more hints of forest, but it's not super dense forest quite yet. And you'll get that feel, the dense forest kind of more right over here, kind of looking into Cypress in this section here. So it's gonna kind of be a little hit or miss areas if that's really important to you. You're gonna have to kind of focus on that. One thing I do like on this section up here is a lot of half-acre, 2-acre lots where you can find some nice houses. And so if you want a little more space, definitely consider here, or obviously you can look out into the country out here in Hockley and Waller County. So that would be something to consider. The other neighborhood that I just love, just north of 290, is Coles Crossing. Now, Coles Crossing is kind of right around here, just to kind of give you an idea. It's not the exact layout, but it's just right there. And I do love it's a master plan community. It's got some good schools, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And then as you get a little bit further north there, I'm not going to go too much into it. So this is 249. I'm going to again talk about Champions in the Tomball Spring video, so be sure to subscribe. But this area just kind of south of 249, a lot of affordable homes, apartments, and neighborhoods. You do have to be careful though, just with the bayou running right here. There are some more flood prone areas. So that gives you a better idea of where Cypress is located, the different areas within it, and so these great neighborhoods are located. I did want to real quick introduce myself. My name is Paul Holub. If you haven't watched my other videos, please subscribe. I appreciate it. I'm a real estate broker here in Houston for Traditions Realty, and I specialize in helping people relocate to Houston. So if you need help buying or renting a home here in Cypress or any other area around Houston, I'd be honored to help you. Please call or text me here at the number on the screen. And now let's move on to talk about some of the pros and cons of Cypress, because I don't just want to give you the best things about Cypress. I want to be honest and give you some of those things that may make you decide, hey, this isn't for me. All right, let me talk about some of my favorite things about Cyfair. First off, there's a variety of different neighborhoods and price points for pretty much every home buyer. So if you're looking for entry level, mid-level, or luxury, you're gonna have a neighborhood and a home style that fits you. And speaking of neighborhoods, the master plan communities are some of the best in the Houston area, so that is a huge plus. And my final thing is that I really like the schools. The schools are top-notch, rated in the top 10 in the Houston area, but not every school in Cypress is an A+ school, so you have to know some of the better schools to really be zoned to if that's important to you. All right, let's talk about some things that I don't particularly care for in the Cypress area. First off is the location. If you have to commute to downtown or the Galleria, your commute's gonna be a bit rough. It could take you just 20 or 30 minutes just to get to a major highway, and then obviously you gotta commute in from there. So if you can take the park and ride or obviously work from home, your life's gonna be much happier. So be sure to check your drive time. Number 2 is flooding, and that's something to be concerned about with any area of Houston, but Cyfair does have some areas that are more flood prone. Now, number 3 is you have to be aware of the property taxes, particularly some of the newer areas. They're gonna have higher property tax rates because they're still building out the infrastructure and don't quite have the same tax base yet. So that really could eat into your monthly budgets. So be sure to calculate that before you buy a home. All right, so let's talk about schools. So Cy-Fair Independent School District, or Cypress Fairbanks, is a highly rated school district. It's rated number 9 and the best school district in the Houston area. So it does have some really good schools. And what I like to do, I like to go to HIR.com/schools and search for, highly rated elementary schools or middle schools or high schools. So I do that Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District, and I'll do A+ or A rated schools or higher. And these are A rated based on the Texas Education Agency. So just because they're A rated does not necessarily mean there'll be great schools for you. So you definitely have to do a more in-depth, thorough due diligence, but it kind of gives you at least a list of schools. And also you kind of see where the higher rated schools are located. Right here on the screen you can see a map of the current A-rated elementary schools. These are not the exact location, but I tried to put them together so you kind of see where they're located. Obviously most of them are just north and south of 290, but it spans all the way from Beltway 8 to 99, so it's a decent amount of A-rated elementary schools. Now if you want the current A-rated high schools, you can see here on the map that Bridgeland High School, Cypress Woods High School, and Cy Ranch High School are the top 3 schools in Cy-Fair currently. So if you're wanting to stay in some really good schools, find an A-rated elementary school and an A-rated high school, and you tend to be better shape than not. So this is kind of a general area of where the schools are located. When we start to look for houses, really to kind of dive into the schools and talk about the pros and cons, again, if that's important to you. And so that's really a big reason why people are moving out to Cypress, because of great schools, great mastermind communities, have a little bit larger lots than if they're living inside 610 Loop. And so you kind of get the best of both worlds if you're moving out here to Cypress in these areas. All right, let's talk about things to do in Cypress. So if you like to shop, there's tons of shopping out in Cypress. I'm here at the Houston Premium Outlet, which has a bunch of big name stores that are all outlet priceless. I don't do a lot of shopping anymore because my wife just buys me clothes, which is awesome, less thing to worry about. I think the last time I was here, I bought some cargo pants. So it tells you how long I used to shop ago. Anyway, so lots of shopping. Now, another thing that you may want to check out, especially if you have a family, we love to go out to the Showboat Drive-In Movie Theater. It's a little further west, just north of 290 and west of 99. But it's cool. It's an old school drive-in movie theater. It's great to go in the spring, the fall, when weather is beautiful like it is today, and check out some movies for real cheap. And the nice thing is that you buy one ticket, you get 2 movies. So, and they're not like old movies, they're popular new movies. So we like that. Other thing too, if you want to make a little drive for Saturday or Sunday, especially in the spring, head out to Brenham, which is where Bluebell Creamery is. It's a little further west on 290, about maybe 30-minute drive or so. Bluebell has like a cult following here in Texas. We love our Bluebell ice cream, and especially go in the spring when the bluebonnets and Indian paintbrushes are out. Take some pictures, check out the beautiful farms and rolling hills there. It's kind of a cool day trip. And then also we do like to go out to Dewberry Farms as well. It's a little bit closer, maybe 20 minutes away, but you can go out and buy a Christmas tree during Christmas, pumpkins during Thanksgiving, and some other things to do. They have carnivals and rides and petting zoos and fun stuff like that. So those are some things in that. And then if you do like to golf, there's tons of golfing throughout Cypress. I'm not a huge golfer, but my dad, my brother, and I will go maybe once a quarter, twice a year. We like to go to Jersey Meadows. It's not super expensive. It's got nice greens. And more importantly, it's right close to my favorite brewery, which is Senate Avenue Brewing. It's right outside Jersey Village. Great food, great beer. The Senator IPA is my favorite. It's crispy, hoppy, and just delicious. So if you like beer, check that out. And then Klaus Brewing's not too far away from that. I've yet to go yet, but it's on my list to do. So those are some things there. Also, tons of parks, tons of parks throughout. And if you do like to do for disc golf, they have disc golf in Bridgeland and a few others throughout. So, and of course, you're not too far from downtown Houston, especially if you don't go at rush hour. You can catch a baseball game, check out the Texans or Rockets. And then if you like concerts, there's always the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion in the Woodlands. And that's always great to go to, especially in the fall and the spring, when again, it's not too hot because it's an outdoor theater. So those are things to do out here in Cypress. Let's talk about flooding. So unfortunately, Cypress is not immune from flooding. We've had some big flooding experiences here in Houston. We had the tax day flooding in 2016, the Memorial Day flooding in 2015, and then the big flood event was 2017 with Hurricane Harvey. Now, some homes, a lot more homes flooded in Hurricane Harvey than they did the previous two. And some homes, particularly like the areas of Bear Creek, flooded, each of those three flood events. So it's good to know the different areas that are more prone to flooding, especially if you want to stay away from dealing with that. And also, you always have to get quotes for flood insurance, because a home that previously flooded, dealing with insurance for that can really eat your lunch. All right, so I apologize. This map is a bit overwhelming, but it does show the flood zones currently. This is Beltway 8 right here. 99 is out here, and then 290 right here. So just to kind of give you a general idea. Now the Addicks Reservoir is down here. Obviously, it's in a flood zone. So anytime you're around that, Bear Creek right there, Greenhouse, right along Highway 6, you're gonna have the concern of being flooded. I already mentioned Lakes on Eldridge, the Twin Lakes, there's Concord Bridge. Some areas you definitely have to be careful. And then as you get a little further west, some of these homes and neighborhoods did flood during Hurricane Harvey, especially those right along the bayou. So you do have to be a little bit careful. And then out here, just kind of north of Bridgeland, this is a whole waterway bayou right here that could flood. So keep that in mind. Now, Bridgeland is built up. You see 500-year floodplain right here, but it is built up, so it's not as likely to flood. But again, it could happen. And then the newer sections of Bridgeland out here, that would be another ones where you're definitely taking a look at the flood maps and getting flood insurance before you buy anything. This area, again, was a lot of rice and farming areas. As you can see, lots of easy access to water and constant, recent flooding. So that would be also something to consider when you're doing North Katy or Hockley over here. So this is Cypress Creek right here, and then it kind of joins into Little Cypress Creek to become Mega Cypress Creek. I don't even know, I guess it's just Cypress Creek right there. But obviously lots of flood zones right around here. So when you're looking on the northern part of Cypress, just kind of be a little bit more careful. Like I mentioned, some of those larger lots over here, some of those did flood, and definitely more on the north side over there. So flooding is always a concern in Houston, and Cypress is no stranger to some flooding. So definitely check the maps out. And then we do look for houses. I always look at the seller's disclosure. Sometimes I have clients that hey, I don't mind if a flooded house, if it's a good price, good location, was remodeled and taken care of correctly, great, I'll look for it. And then I have other clients like, I don't want a flood house, I don't even look at it, I want to be in a 500-year floodplain, I want to be outside the floodplain, and that's totally fine too. So it really just depends on what my client wants to do and how I focus on the home search. All right, let's talk about the reasons why people choose Cypress over other suburban areas of Houston. And the number 3 reason is the great schools. Cy-Fair ISD is within the top 10 school districts in Houston and number 47 out of 1,052 school districts in Texas. So needless to say, it is highly rated. Number 2 is the availability of newer houses. Buyers love to buy a brand new home, but not have to be out in the country to enjoy it, and you get that right here in Cypress. And the number 1 reason people select Cypress is that it's affordable. It's one of the most affordable areas of Houston. Again, you can buy a brand new house, entry level, luxury level home, very affordable. Cypress has just an abundance of affordable homes as well as new homes that just make it a great combination for an area to live in. So that's what people love about Cypress. It's affordable, you get a great sense of community, great neighborhoods, and some really brand new, beautiful homes for a great price. And again, for help finding a great house in Cypress or the greater Houston area, call or text me now to the number on the screen. And then next, if you want to learn more about Cypress, some of these great neighborhoods, watch this video right now about the top 10 neighborhoods in Cypress, where I go into more detail these great neighborhoods that you may want to consider moving to.